All right, it's a pregame edition of the Locked On Utah Hockey Club podcast. We're going to preview the Vancouver Canucks game coming up. Plus, there's been some movement on the defensive front. We'll tell you what that is and a whole lot more. Stick around. We're going to kick it off right now. This is the Locked On Utah Hockey Club podcast.
You are Locked On Utah Hockey Club, your daily podcast on the Utah Hockey Club, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everyone, and welcome into the Locked On Utah Hockey Club podcast. I'm veteran NHL voice Tom Callahan. Thanks for joining me today. We're going to take a look at the Canucks matchup coming up here on a Sunday. Plus, we've got some waiver movement onto the defense. We're going to talk about that as well. And want to let you know, today's episode brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, FanDuel customers can get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. We're going to talk a little bit about the FanDuel odds for this Vancouver game coming up here in just a little bit. And the first thing I want to get to here, actually, even before we get to the Canucks game preview, I think it's important to get to the news that Valimaki has been placed on waivers by the Utah Hockey Club. So Jusso Valimaki, so here's how waivers works. If you don't know, or maybe you're just not 100% on it, 24 hours from basically deadline to deadline. Each day has a passing transaction deadline for things to go into effect basically that night. If I were to sign a player and I needed him in the lineup that night, I have to have him signed by a certain time. And every day, I think it's either at noon or 1 o'clock Eastern. And so what happens is when a player goes on waivers, they are placed on waivers for 24 hours. During that time, each team has a number assigned as far as waiver priority goes. So it is generally based on record, although if you've made a recent claim, your waiver priority has probably dropped, because that basically what that does is, let's just say you're a last place team, it keeps you from picking up everybody just to keep them away from other teams or for whatever your weird little reasons might be. But so essentially it would keep team 32, the last place team, from just picking up everybody on the waiver wire. So when you pick someone up, then you get bumped back in priority a little bit. So anyway, 24 hours, every other club has a chance to claim Jusso Valimaki. So right now, he's in a situation where his contract runs through next year. And we've talked about this lately on the show quite a bit, because there's been a lot of defensemen here for the Utah Hockey Club, and they're paring down. They were at 9 not too long ago. And so now that everybody's healthy, I mean, that's way too crowded. You cannot possibly keep everyone on your NHL roster. So that's kind of how that ends up. So Valimaki is $2 million for the rest of this year and next year, signed through 25-26. So if anyone were to pick him up, that's the other thing about waivers. If you pick him up, you're paying. So if the Rangers pick up Valimaki, they're paying his contract. So it's not like you're making a trade where the Rangers say, hey, can you keep half of that? No, you are responsible for the player, responsible for the player's contract. If 24 hours elapses and no one picks him up, Valimaki can then be assigned to, in this case, Tucson of the American Hockey League, and he will go down there and play games for the Roadrunners. Now, when he comes back up, doesn't have to clear waivers, but does have to clear on the way down. So that's kind of how that would work. However, you send him down again, he would again have to clear waivers. So that's and doesn't mean the player can't be traded. Could be traded as part of being on an American Hockey League roster. We see that all the time. Prospects and picks that, they're not NHL rostered players, they can get moved. So and the reason why that may still happen, and you're saying, well, Tom, if no one picks him up for free, who's going to want him? Well, somebody may want him, but they may want him for $1 million, not $2 million. So if that's the case, you may have to expose the player to waivers. Yeah, you risk losing them. Obviously, that happened earlier to Utah this season, but they've also picked up waiver wire players that they have brought in. So kind of works both ways. Nick DeSimone was a waiver wire pickup, and I love that pickup for the Utah Hockey Club, but DeSimone is an odd man out right now as well as Valimaki, who did not play in Four Nations. He was a healthy scratch for all 3 games for Finland, which disappointing. For me personally, I wanted to see him play. I'm sure he wanted to play, but I mean, I really thought he was going to get a chance to get out there and play, but not inevitable at this point. So now, as we've talked about with this defense already, it's Sergachev, Durzi, Marino. Those are your long-term deals. Those guys are sticking around. Your expiring deals are Ian Cole, Oli Mata. 3.1 for Cole, 3 million for Mata. Valimaki had another year. Kesselring's got another year, 1.4 million for him this and next. Bortuzzo's an expiring deal. Of course, he's hurt right now, 775. And then DeSimone at 775 as well. He's 30, right shot. And that's the other thing, too. Just quickly looking through this, just to let you know, Sergachev is left, Durzi, Marino right, Cole left, Mata left, Valimaki left, Kesselring right, Bortuzzo and DeSimone right shots. So teams like to have a healthy balance of both, but right shots are a little harder, not impossible, but harder to come by. And so they have a bit more priority. So that is the new look right now for the Utah Hockey Club as they try to figure out how to get themselves to a point where they're not overcrowded up top. And certainly we'll keep you posted if we hear anything, if he goes anywhere. We'll let you know, but that is big news right now that Jusso Valimaki ends up on waivers for this team. Also, by the way, wanted to tell you that a little bit later on in the show, and I probably should have led with this, but we are going to hear from some morning skate reaction from Sean Durzi coming off his first game. And then, of course, we're going to hear from head coach Andre Tourigny. So let's take a look at the matchup here tonight. And, we'll just start with the FanDuel odds, the betting line. Right now, Utah Hockey Club is minus 160 heading into this one. Vancouver plus 132. That's kind of an interesting line for me. I think these teams are pretty close. They're evenly matched, and obviously on home ice, Utah gets 1.5, I think it is, on the line, and then the over-under at 5.5. So typically that's where we see the over-under is at 5.5. And that's a tough one to go against, I think, in this particular matchup between these two teams. Coming into the matchup here today, Vancouver sits in that final wild card spot. They're 26, 19, and 11, 63 points. They have a minus 13 goal differential. They are much better away from home at 15, 9, and 4 than they are at home. They are 6, 3, and 1 in the last 10. So they're playing decent hockey, but as I told you yesterday in the post-game show that we did, nobody's on fire right now in this little clump of teams fighting for the wild card. Now, Utah's 3-5-2 in its last 10. And of course, Four Nations kind of reset everybody in a lot of ways. But at NHL 500, 24-24, 957 points. And 16 of those wins are in regulation. That's the other place where Utah is lacking. Everyone else around them in the wild card fight has more regulation wins. So that's a tough one. Now, regulation and overtime wins because Utah's been so good in overtime. Their row is 23, where Anaheim and St. Louis are 22. Calgary's 23. Vancouver 25. So they are better in the row column, but regulation wins, not so much for Utah this year. They've gone past regulation quite a bit. But so that was a quick look there at the FanDuel odds and what's going on here. And then I do want to get into keys to the game here for this evening's contest. Why don't we do keys here coming up in just a moment? Then we're going to hear from Sean Durzi. We're going to hear from head coach Andre Tourigny. So stick around. We've got more coming your way here in just a moment. All right. And today's show is brought to you in part by Wonderful Pistachios. Looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious? Crack into a good source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. Wonderful Pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to help you keep feeling fuller longer. I love the no shells variety. We've talked about this if you're a long timer, if you've been around even for a couple of weeks. Because I'm a snack at my desk person. I don't want to be cracking shells. I don't want them rolling under my chair. I don't want them escaping under my desk, which is really what's going to happen. Plus, if I need to grab a little something in the car, a little handful, it's an easy way to do it. Look, if you love the crack of the shell, if that's your thing, if it's a little stress relief for you, you just like the old snap. In shell, classic favorite. I have no problem with the in shells. If I have time, if I'm sitting on the couch watching a game, that's fine. I'll do the in shell, but most of the time I'm going no shell. So get cracking and get snacking with the snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. Okay, Tom Callahan here with you. Hey, if you're still here, hit the like, hit the subscribe. We have heard, the Royal We, the Locked On Utah team here, that you do like the live postgame shows. We're going to try to do some more of those as much as we can and see if we can, kind of get at least some nights where it's regular because, we have other jobs, Robin and I. So we're not always able to do a post game show every single time. But when we're able to, and if there's some momentum for it and some, excitement around it, yeah, I don't mind doing a live post game show. I enjoy them. I think it's a lot of fun to read and react and talk about the game that we all just watched and see what we think. So that's not a bad idea. And if there is support for that, let me know in the comments. But again, hit the subscribe button while you're here. And if you're on the YouTube side, give it the old thumbs up. Helps us with the algorithm, helps you with the algorithm to find more great hockey content as well. Keys to the game for me today. You know what? Number one, shifts after goals. We've talked about this. We had to talk about it again yesterday. Utah Hockey Club gets a lead, they give up a lead. And it's so tough. It's so hard for them to do that. It's a constant battle. And it's just a lapse. Right after you have this emotional high, now you're on this emotional low. It's a roller coaster. They've got to be better. Shifts after goals, whether it's for or against. You don't want to get down. You don't want to get beaten. You also don't want to take your foot off the gas. So that's number one for me. Number two, shore up the D zone. I felt like there was a lot of running around. And again, I know this is the first time. Yesterday was the first time. And we're going to hear from Sean Durzi and his thoughts on how things went here in just a minute from Morning Skate. But trying to get everybody on the same page. First time they're really playing together in game action. That's going to be important. And that is something that's going to take a little bit of time, but is going to require a lot of communication. And it's got to come together fairly quickly if they're going to make a charge here at this last wild card spot. And number three, win those one-on-one battles. You cannot get beaten on the wall for pucks in your own zone, in the offensive zone, especially in the offensive zone. If you want to maintain puck possession, zone time, cycle the puck around, the other team can't score on you if they don't have the puck. So winning those one-on-one battles is going to be absolutely key for me to see how this team does. All right, let's take a quick break. We're going to hear from Sean Durzi and see what his thoughts were getting through his first game, coming back, how he feels after missing 50 plus, and his thoughts on the D and where the team is right now.
Yeah, thanks. I miss you too.
How did it feel to get back in?
Yeah, obviously, amazing. I said it before, you're going through the year, you see the guys leaving it all out there, and there's nothing you can do about it. It sucks. It's something that I didn't want to happen, especially this year with all the excitement, but a lot of hard work, not only for myself, but from the staff here and, people around me. So it was nice to get back there and, not only reward myself, but everybody who put, their heart into me getting back out there.
Looked like you weren't really hesitant at all to get into the action. How much of a mental thing is that to just throw yourself back into, playoff push NHL?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I always say confidence comes from preparation, though, and I think not only myself, but everybody around me kind of working me into that point. I said when I want to come back, obviously there's a point of adjustment and working rust off, and I still believe, the expectation of myself is still higher than what it was last night. I know I have a lot more to give, and a lot of plays where I know I'm better in certain situations, but a big part of that was, again, the preparation and, giving myself the confidence to not only come in, but come in and make an impact. And the mindset throughout the whole injury from the staff, myself, people around me was not only to come back where I was, but to come back even a little bit better. And whether that's, skills on the ice or where I can be mentally. And I thought everybody and I did a good job of, doing that, and felt pretty good.
What is the process of, working off that rust?
Yeah, first off, it's probably just making reads for myself. Never want to be thinking out there. You want it to come naturally, but in our game, I feel like, especially in my game, is, a lot of my IQ I try to let take over, whether it's defensive reads, communication, and the quicker I can make those reads, the quicker guys around me can play, and the quicker we can be as a team. So whether it's sort outs on the rush or in the D zone, and then the less I have to play there, the more I can play offensively. So as the game went along, obviously reads came a little bit quicker, game started moving back at the speed that I know, and I felt better as the game went along.
Motto was a new addition because of your injury, kind of. What's it been like playing with him, kind of getting used to each other?
Yeah, Ole's a beast. I've said it. I mean, we played together in LA. His preparation every day, true pro, puts everything into preparing his body, mind, and just being physically ready for the NHL game. And last night, there's a few times, you think we're in trouble, and we've been out there for a while, and he just makes an absolute beast of a play and poised in a situation where everybody on the ice is gassed, and he makes a great play to get us out of the zone. So he's an awesome dude. Goes about his business as a true pro. I think he's done a good job of that, and I thought he did great last night with especially a guy coming back for the first time.
What will it feel like to play in front of this whole crowd once again?
Yeah, I mean, half of the battle being out was, that first game was so much fun. Playing for these fans is so much fun. I was, ready to pour my heart out for this, state of Utah and for this team, and obviously I wasn't able to do that for whatever it was, 50 or so games. So can't wait. Obviously, going to give everything I have for the rest of the year here. It's such an exciting time. I hope the city feels that and the state of Utah feels that, and I'm just ready to give it my all again.
With 20-something games left, you had a unique opportunity, we'll call it, for the 30,000-foot view to watch this team develop over this season. What have you seen this group do over the course of this year? Because it's still the inaugural season for this team.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, with the excitement comes a lot of pressure, and I think the team's done a good job of handling that. It's a pressure that you want as a player, obviously performing to expectations and being and growing as a team that we want to be. And when you see that growth, it's obviously something that shows we're in the right direction. We want to be in the playoffs. To see them grow, obviously wanting to be a part of that growth is something that sucks because you're kind of focused on your own journey at the same time. But to see the guys growing every night, building that brotherhood and preparing for this push and for this season has been, just a joy to watch. So they've done a great job, and I'm just happy I could be here now.
What about the confidence level of this team that you've seen from last year to this year with the younger players and the added players and being in this position with 25 games left? What kind of confidence do you feel and kind of an air about this group?
Yeah, you look at these games and I say high pressure games. And I feel like there's certain types of players who shy away from the moment, non-willingly, of course. Obviously, everybody wants to be here, but, that pressure comes and guys grip their sticks, or everybody's human. It obviously happens. Guys feel nerves, but this group is kind of hungry for that moment. This is probably the biggest weekend of our season, and, you see guys going head on into this saying, these are our games, we're going to win. We want guys, obviously, to feel that, and we want guys to push through that. And that's part of being a great hockey player and being a great hockey team, is learning from these moments and being better from these moments. And I think the confidence level and the poise that the group showed, I mean, I played last night for the first time, and I loved our energy on the bench, on the ice. Every single shift, we weren't just going out there to prevent a goal. We were going out there to push the pace and play our game and dictate the pace of the game. And that confidence is something that I think if you carry that for an 82-game season, you'll have success. So the confidence, never deterred. Obviously, that's something that we want to keep preaching and keep being good at. But to be a part of it finally, I felt it on the bench for the first time, in a while.
As you process last night's game, playing for the first time in 2 weeks for the group, and now on a back-to-back here tonight, what can you take from last night into tonight that you wouldn't have had with 2 weeks not playing a game?
Yeah, it's the beauty of NHL. I preach about confidence and how proud I was of the effort, but we didn't get 2 points. The best part of the NHL is you get to do it again today. So it's another great opportunity for our group, for myself again, to grow in certain areas. It's a great test. Obviously, coming back into a back-to-back isn't easy, but it's something that I'm ready for, obviously. And the best part of seeing a group like this and seeing a confident group is you got to be ready to turn the page. Take what we did well, take what we didn't do well, and go out and get 2 points now. That's the only option we have, and that's something we're gonna have to do tonight.
You mentioned the support that you had in your recovery, was there anyone in particular that had the biggest impact or the most impact in helping you not just physically get ready, but mentally get ready to come back?
Yeah, I mean, the staff here is amazing. Like it's day in, day out, by my side, pushing me every single day. Obviously, my family, my friends, like everybody's around. Everybody who's in my close, circle has been amazing, and it's not much more I could ask for in that sense. Early on, there's obviously some rough days. You think you don't see the light at the end of the tunnel, and those times can be tough. But I think just preaching that it's such a process and take every day and work from it and get better. But once we kind of had that mindset of, I'm not only going to come back, I'm going to try to come back better than I was. I think it kind of gave me that excitement of pushing through those, hard days and, getting back to this point.
You and Marino worked closely together during your rehab. Just what did it feel like, both of you being back, kind of coming out, like you're saying, at the end of the tunnel?
Yeah, I mean, you take some positives from it. We got pretty close. Obviously, Bertuzzo as well. Like, we're a pretty good trio, all right shot D. We bounce ideas off each other, watching games and then just hanging out as friends. It's been great. Those guys both have a lot of wisdom in our game and both have a lot of great ideas and great, eyesight for our game. So it was so fun to kind of bounce ideas, grow from each other, laugh with each other, and obviously make the process a little bit easier in a circumstance that you don't want to be in. So two great guys. Unfortunately, we've had more injuries, and I feel like guys are just lapping me in that process. But, so many guys who obviously got hurt. We have such a great group, and having those guys around, I was welcoming them and then, wishing them luck on the return. So it was a great group to be a part of. Even the guys who were playing made it obviously great on me, being in town and obviously having laughs together. And awesome group, and it was a good time.
Thanks, Sean.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
All right, that's Sean Durzi. We'll take a break. When we come back, it'll be time to chat with head coach Andre Tourigny. We'll get his thoughts following skate here today as we get ready for the Vancouver Canucks and the Utah Hockey Club puck drop coming up in just a little bit. Stay tuned. And today's show is also brought to you in part by FanDuel. When the game tips off, the NBA action's just getting started, and there's no better place to get in on that action than FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. With FanDuel, you can place live bets throughout the game, so even if you miss the opening tip-off or you want to bet on a fourth quarter comeback, you can stay in the action. And if you're looking for a bigger payout, you can combine your bets into a same-game parlay. So the live betting feature is awesome because it keeps every moment of the game exciting. I mean, if you're a Jazz fan, you know what I'm talking about. Sometimes they're up, sometimes they're down. There can be a rally in the second half. No matter what it is, if you're picking a player maybe to hit a clutch 3 even, you just never feel like you have a missed chance. Plus, the app's pretty easy to use, and when you win, you get paid instantly. Love that. Right now, FanDuel customers can get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. By the way, that's new FanDuel customers. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. That's FanDuel.com for your shot at $150 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right, back here in this final segment, why don't we just go ahead and jump into what head coach Andre Tourigny has to say. We'll have a listen to his thoughts about this game coming up here against the Vancouver Canucks.
Any Logan Cooley tonight?
Game time decision. He will. He's close. We'll do the warm up and we'll see after.
Who would come out if you did go in?
We'll see that.
Any other lineup changes?
Veg in the net.
And the lines will stay the same.
We'll see who's in, who's out.
What did you like from Durzi and Valimaki yesterday?
A lot of stuff. I like our team yesterday. The way we were engaged, the way we battle. We had 4-line 6D who were really competitive and played the right way, and they were pushing. I felt the compete level really high, and I think there's a lot of Durz in that, and there's a lot of Oli in that. Both of them are really competitive. They're good pro. Their presence on the bench. Durz is, I often say, he's our energy bunny. He wants it badly, so I think he had a huge impact.
Just playing the Canucks Durzi was saying and Haynes said last night that this is one of your biggest games of the season. This
Yeah.
weekend it's a big game. How do you see them just handling that pressure, being in this position?
Our guy?
Yeah.
Both game were a big game yesterday and tonight. Obviously tonight is the biggest one, but yesterday we rise to the occasion, and I know we didn't win. I'm fully aware of that, but just the pace of the game, the way we compete, our presence mentally. LA is the best defensive team in the league. We had 4.2 expected goal for at 5-on-5. It says enough. I think we compete really hard. I think our gap were great, our track was great, our pace in our D zone was great. That doesn't mean we didn't make mistake. That doesn't mean there's stuff we cannot do better. We review a few things. I think we could have managed the game a little bit better in the second period. We get the moment take away from us. We had a few situations where we're tired, where we try to do too much, and those situations would instead of just be patient, that lead to 3-4 scoring chance for LA, which if you look the number of scoring chance we gave, 3 or 4, it's massive. So again, it's being competitive is a huge quality. That's what you want, but you need to get the monster under control in those key moments. And I don't think. I don't want to blame the guy to be competitive. It's the Reavers. I want to praise them for that.
You mentioned 4.2 expected goals at 5-on-5.
Not at 5-on-5. I said at 5-on-5. I meant in the game.
In the whole game.
Yeah.
So I guess what's the difference between the 4.2 expected goals and the 3 actual goals? What's the difference there?
Well, didn't put it in. And well, even then, they defend well, and their goalie made key save at key moment. I think their numbers are an indication. It doesn't mean everything, you know what I mean? It's just sometimes it back up what you saw. It's sometimes, there's some games sometimes I was looking, the scoring chance were in our favor, but I didn't feel we're a big threat offensively. Okay, it's a scoring chance, but in reality, what was the chance we scored in that shot with the pressure we had and stuff like that? So it's, for me, you cannot just use the numbers when it fits your narrative. You need to look at the game, at the actual game, and look at the numbers and see if it fits. And sometimes that's not really fit because, okay, we didn't give that much, but we give high quality, in my opinion, or their major breakdown or their major focus breakdown, which is something we control. I didn't see that yesterday. I saw, okay, they're a good team, and they generate because they force us into lost battle or dirty puck or stuff like that, which is a hockey game, which will happen tonight for both teams. So I'm okay with that. That stuff will happen. It's I don't think we had many unforced error, except our second period, like I said, a few situations. So I think yesterday, the way I felt behind the bench, the way all the coach we felt about how our team played, matched the numbers in our mind.
How do you think having a healthy D-core can possibly help the offense once, Durzi gets a couple more games?
It's huge. It's huge. It's how a healthy quarterback can help a team. It's where you kill the play and you start the play. It's a key position. And I think Sergey and Johnny were really, really good yesterday. It's not. It just makes sense in sense of we could manage their ice time. It's not just the number of minutes you play. It's at some point, if you have to play 4 minutes out of 6, it won't be as good in those 4. It's just human nature. So having more depth, I think Ole played a really solid game as well. I think that helped.
Kessler's ice time went down significantly. Yeah. How do you think he's handling the internal competition right now?
We'll see, but we talk a lot with him. He's still a really important part of our team. There will be some night he will play more. There will be some night he'll play less. It depends about the score. It depends about his performance and about others' performance. Like I said, I think Marino and Durzi yesterday, they play an A+ game. So he's the third third right ND, so that's automatically it cost him ice time, and we were down by 1 and we're chasing a little bit. So that cost him ice time. It's not necessarily because he played bad, but I hope Marino and Durz will play like that every night, but in reality, they may not play as good every night. So Cass will be really important in those situations, and he's important in the 13, 14 minutes he played. He has that ability to skate and take good shot and defend well and be a difference maker in those minutes. Like I said before, there's some guys they play 9-10 minutes, but they play PK. If they're no good that night, you won't win because they give 2 goals in the PK and you lose by 1. So it's not the quantity of minutes are not always the most important thing. It's the quality of your ice time, the quality of your role. I think, example, when Obi's playing and he's physical and he has that energy, okay, you play 9-10 minutes, but how much energy he brings in those 9-10 minutes? A lot. So that's the way it is.
What does it do? What does it do for the group to be in the playoff mix like this, development-wise?
It's huge. It's huge. But when you're a mature team, when you're a playoff team, when you're a championship team, you laugh at saying, "Hey, it's a playoff game when there's 25 games left." It's not the same. When you've been in the playoff in the game 7 or game 6 or whatever it is, you face elimination. You understand. But having that said, for us, at where we are in our development, they are playoff games. They are must-win games. So we need to go through that and succeed in those games in order to earn the right to be in that playoff elimination game for or against. So it's part of the process. We won't repeat enough how excited we are about the future of our team. But for the coach and the player, it's now. We want to perform now, and whatever are the expectation, we want to exceed the expectation. We don't want to meet the expectation. We want to exceed the expectation. That's the competitive nature of every professional athlete or coach. That's what we want. Having that said, sometimes we make a step back and we look at the performance, and we need to be matter of fact of what's happening.
Early in the season, Liam O'Brien was very adamant on what he knew his role, where it wasn't necessarily in the lineup. But lately, he's proved that he's been getting more consistent minutes. What has he proved to you to allow that more time on the ice?
I understand your question, but he didn't prove it to me this year. He did prove it to me before. For me, I trust Obi. I trust his professionalism. I trust his preparation. I trust his focus. I trust his intensity. I trust his effort. I trust his thought process. Trust his toughness. I have a ton of trust in him. It's just sometimes there's some situation in his role he needs to have a lot of energy, and we need to set him up for that kind of energy. I will take another player who's not playing for a couple of years, who I coach in Colorado, and Gabriel Landeskog, who is an energy physical player. And we were saying when Landy played 20 minutes is not as good as when he plays 17, because playing that energy physical role. So if we play Lawson Cross 20 minutes, he won't be as intense as physical. The same thing for Jack McBain, and the same thing for every player in that kind of a role. So it's the same for Obi. I think the level of trust I have for him doesn't always translate in minutes, but it translates in the way and against who I play him, and the way I feel comfortable when whoever is on the ice on the other side, that kind of a stuff. I know who he is. I know his strength and weakness, but I think he's a really important player for us. Having that said, there's 23 players in the team. There's other players who I feel strongly about, and there's load management, back-to-back game, different stuff who sometimes go in our decision.
And then, just in speaking of time on ice, yesterday Durzi, I think, led out of the first period with time on ice. I don't know what the game plan was with how much he wanted to use him. Obviously, I know he wanted to contribute right off the bat, but as far as management goes, getting him back in there.
Yeah, like I said, Durzi's an energy bunny, And Durzi is the kind of a guy, if you want to hold him, you need more than one rope. We need more than two ends to hold him back. You know, he's really competitive. Having that said, experience and says the first game back is not the problem. It's to get in the grind. We often talk about the grind. We played 3 and 4 to start in 5 games in nine nights or something like that. No, we'll see. We'll see then about the load management and how much that had effect, because he will wake up one morning and he will feel he's 85 years old, and that's just the reality of the league. So we'll see then.
All right, well, that's going to do it. Puck Drop's coming up in just a little bit here as the Utah Hockey Club taking on the Vancouver Canucks. Thanks for joining me for this pregame show. Robin and I back with some postgame reaction following the game here tonight. We'll try to hop on, maybe do another live cast for you. So thank you very much. Hit that subscribe button. Tell your friends. If you like what you hear, tell your friends. The more the merrier. The more we can talk about the Utah Hockey Club, the more fun we are having. Thanks for joining us, everybody. This is Tom Callahan. We'll talk to you again soon. This has been the Locked On Utah Hockey Club podcast.